Good morning, Friday morning, and we're still in the book of Mark, and we're looking at chapter 5 and the story of Jesus heading across to the 10 cities, to the Decapolis, and there he meets this demon-possessed man. And it's a fascinating passage that actually leaves me with a number of unanswered questions. But that's not the bit that really gets me about this passage. It's not the bit that I don't understand. It's actually the challenge of the bits that are very clear and very applicable to you and to me, that we have to then go and do, as Jesus said to this man who had been possessed by a legion of demons. And we'll get to that at the end of this passage. But this picture here of now, verse 15, the man is dressed and in his right mind, a picture of our salvation, of what is happening to us, clothed with Jesus, that we get to take on his character and be transformed from the inside out. And in his right mind, I remember my family, when I met Jesus and started telling them about him, they thought, you're mad, you've gone mad. But for the first time, I'd started to think right and realised that the way I'd been living was so upside down compared to how I should be thinking, and how Jesus was starting to work in my life. Fascinating passage. Then all the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. Their income had gone. What else was Jesus going to do to them? They were afraid that this Jesus might change everything for them. Verse 18, as Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who'd been demon-possessed wanted to go with Jesus. Now, I don't know if you can think, I can't think of another place where Jesus turned away someone who wanted to be his disciple, pleaded with him to walk with him, and Jesus said, no, go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done and how he's had mercy on you. And I think we have to stop and think for ourselves here and remind ourselves, what has Jesus done in us? Maybe even through us, but what's Jesus done for us? And just reflect on all the things that Jesus has been doing in us, the mercy he's shown to us. We had a socially distanced breakfast with great friends this week, and just as normally happened with them, we just started talking about all the good things that the Lord has done, and there's even stories from this week of what the Lord has been doing, what Jesus has been active about. It's just such an encouraging time as we remind ourselves of the good things that God has done. And hopefully you're in a connect group who are connected with some people, that you can start to do that you can just share testimonies. So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis of how much Jesus had done for him. And all the people were amazed. All the people. Of course, he had an amazing story. But we each have our own testimony, our own story that we can share. I was with somebody I didn't know that well this week, and they asked me those magic words. So how did you become a Christian? And then I had the opportunity just to share my story, which is unique to me. But testimonies, they're very difficult to argue against, but they'll also just leave this fascination. This person was just amazed of how I talked about Jesus still being alive today, that it wasn't some ancient character, and we just had a great discussion in that. Now, my story has been that I've always found it easier when I'm on mission to talk about Jesus, but with my neighbours it's harder. So I probably need to pray more for those opportunities. That Jesus said to him, go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done. So maybe this week we can start praying again for those opportunities to share our testimony, to share what the Lord has done. Maybe this week we can start to reflect again of how good Jesus is, of all the answered prayers that he's done, not only for us but through us, of how he's using us and just our availability to talk about the good things that the Lord has done and how he's shown mercy on us. So that's the challenging part of this, that the Lord has a point for us. This man couldn't go with Jesus. He was to go back to his own home and share there, and all the people were amazed. The Lord doesn't answer our prayers in the ways often we want, and he wants to use us in a unique way. And no matter where you're at, no matter what position you're in, the Lord can still use you. He can answer your prayers in the toughest times, but also pray for those opportunities that this day maybe you can share that testimony of what the Lord has done for you and what mercy he's shown you. Challenging stuff, but hopefully the Lord will use each one of us to extend his kingdom and reveal the goodness of Jesus. Have a great day.